That's the first time, Vish, you saw Trey Lance in a Niners uniform in a semi-real game. What'd you think?
I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there were a lot of people that were a little bit up and down and nitpicking, specifically pointing out dropped interceptions. I mean, we've seen dropped interceptions from a quarterback before from the 49ers. I'm not singling out, this isn't a subliminal shot at Jimmy G. I'm saying in general, we've seen dropped interceptions and we've seen quarterbacks, with more experience and less rawness than Trey Lance miss underneath coverage and be late over the middle of the field. We don't immediately blame that on the number of starts they have, even though, Jimmy G is a guy with a less number of starts for a guy at his age too. But when he does those things, we don't blame it on rawness. We just say he made a mistake. And I think that's what those were. But I thought he played pretty well. I mean, everything that you wanted to see about him was right there on display. You could see how athletic he was, and he didn't even have to run to show that. I mean, the first play to Brandon Ayuk, the way he climbed the pocket, how explosive he was. If he didn't throw that rocket that hit Brandon Ayuk in the chest, it felt like he could probably run for 20 yards on that. He was exploding out of a cannon. Yep. Then you saw the arm strength, right? His two best throws, the Ayuk rocket and then the rocket to Richie James near the sideline, both were dropped. But then the Richie James, you saw the timing, the ability when his back foot hit the ground to throw the out with great trajectory, timing, and there was touch on that ball. It landed right there for Richie James. It was a great ball on 3rd and 8. So that was phenomenal. I thought he played well. I really did. I know a lot of people have reservations, but it was as advertised. You saw the arm strength. You saw the ability to throw the ball down the field on a rope. You saw how comfortable he was in play action, which is something that's super cool to see from a young quarterback. Every time he was in play action, he's so explosive coming out of his drop, locating the safeties, and very quick and decisive in knowing where to go with the football. Then you saw aspects of, I thought, things that, were, again, you see these things at NDSU, a little bit more maturity than he has. And to me, one of his best plays and most underrated plays, at least, again, I didn't get the all 22, so I'm trying to get it. I tweeted at Rich, but I watched the broadcast angle, and if you watched, I think before they kicked the field goal, I think on Trey Lance's third drive, Diamador Lenore had just gotten the interception. They had like a 3rd and 7. He was under heavy pressure. The offensive line got whipped, and he's reading the front side of the play, and his checkdown's on the backside, and he's got somebody right on him, and he locates his check down to the backside and throws a really accurate ball to Wayne Gallman. It was a 3-yard gain, but it's the difference between him taking a sack and losing 7 yards and him getting 3-yard gain. He just gave you 10 extra yards for your kicker to kick the field goal. So that's a veteran quarterback thing, locating your check down, not taking a sack that, again, a lot of quarterbacks don't do, and he did it. So I thought that was great. I really thought, again, as advertised is the word I keep coming back to. Obviously, he had the 3 drops. I thought the 3 drops, I saw it a little differently than other people. I excuse the Craycraft drop a little bit. He threw a duck to Craycraft. It was a hard ball to catch near the sideline when he's coming back to the ball, that kind of duck. But then I thought the Richie James throw over the middle that Richie James didn't even go for, I thought that was not on Trey Lance. To me, that was just an absolute cannon that went straight over the middle of the field. To me, at least, again, I'm watching the broadcast view. To me, it looked like if Richie James puts his hands out, it's hitting him right in the hands. I think he didn't want any part of that football because, that ball was an absolute rocket over the middle. Debo was snatching that and running for 20 yards. But, that was a rocket over the middle. I got, there were a couple of things I thought maybe that were less refined. Like, for example, one of the things that I harped on a lot before the draft is that I felt he wasn't the most refined drop back passer. I felt that his drop back passing in the rawness was shown when he played yesterday. I thought he looked a little bit rushed in the 2-minute drill in terms of knowing when to throw the ball. Now, to be fair to him, he played behind an awful offensive line that put him under pressure every single play. Not pressure, was just he was under duress every single play. He was getting hounded. So maybe that's what was rushing him. But to me, he played a little too fast in the 2-minute drill as a drop back passer. And then I thought in general, it was just more natural for him to go through the play action aspect of it. But those were things you saw in college. But then, you get the aspect of that 3rd and 8 when he throws the out to Richie James. So you get glimpses of how he could get so much better at the drop back passing angle of it. So that's one thing. And then finally, the other thing, and I think a couple other people have pointed it out, and I don't know how much of a big deal this is, but it's just an observation. He doesn't throw a spiral. He throws kind of wobblers, but
Hmm.
it's crazy he throws wobblers because the ball, I mean, how fast does it get to receivers, Grant?
Dude.
And I mean, this is basic physics. Football is more aerodynamic when it's spinning as a spiral than it is as a wobbler.
Right.
So it's crazy to me how fast his balls get to receivers, even though the ball wobbles a little bit.
Yep.
And there was inaccuracies, right? Like the Charlie Warner throw when he was coming across the middle of the field. He kind of one-hopped it during the 2-minute drill. There were a couple other throws that he missed here and there, but overall, it was as advertised, and we didn't even get to see the running element that he's going to add. I think it should be all excitement because you could see the clear physical difference between him and every other quarterback on the field outside of Patrick Mahomes. He was just faster, more explosive, stronger arm, everything. It just jumps off the screen.
Okay, that was great. Let me tell you what I thought. I was so frustrated by the whole experience. It's preseason. It's always frustrating. I thought he looked terrific when he had the starters that were playing around him. It was 2 throws, but one of them was that beautiful off-schedule extended play to the right, throwing on the run. That was a preview of what it's going to look like. And then the next one was the half roll to the left, throwback to the right. I mean, that was great. And then I felt from there on out, it was like, I mean, hard to say much other than he needs pass protection. He didn't get it. So I guess that's frustrating, but I'm kind of like putting all that to the side, and I'm trying to explain why I feel like I've seen enough, even though he hasn't had any reps with the starters. I've seen enough. He gives the Niners the best chance to win. The talent difference is so stark. It's so obvious. I mean, doesn't it jump out right away?
Yeah, it jumps off. And it's nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo, who's talented enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, that's a pretty talented quarterback. It's just that this guy is freaky.
Obvious. So let me just explain. Like, people be like, okay, but you got to win from the pocket. But you got to be nuanced. I disagree. The way I feel is that the pocket is essentially extinct and that you need to be proficient from the pocket and make like 2/3 of your throws from the pocket if you're mobile, but still, like, pass protection in the NFL sucks and it gets worse every year. The pass rushers are fantastic. The pass blockers aren't that good. It's a dangerous place to be unless you're Tom Brady unless you're extremely experienced and you know all the tricks that the defense is going to do, the pressures, the disguised coverages. It's very hard. You need a ton of experience. Jimmy doesn't have it. Tom Brady does. Trey doesn't have it. So anytime he's in the pocket, his inexperience is going to be accentuated and the defense is going to have the advantage. But what's cool about him, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, all of these young guys who can run, you know that they can have experience early on is because once they break the pocket, whether it's on a design bootleg or a scramble, they get the advantage. The game tilts in their favor because all of a sudden the blitzes, forget them. Disguised coverages, forget them. If it was zone, now everyone's just trying to find a guy and plaster him. And now you're just trying to hang on. It's playground football. And you got a guy like Trey Lance who can stop and throw anywhere over the field or run. That is what you want in today's NFL. I think the pocket, unless you have great pass protection, which the Niners don't have, you need what Trey Lance is bringing to the field in 2021.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think it's a necessity in general. I mean, Kirk Cousins is a guy that offers as much as anybody on structure and on time in a play, but he can't offer you. He offers next to nothing off schedule, and it's not just a matter of athleticism or arm strength. You know, it's also that playmaking aspect. Like, do you have that playmaking ability to be able to break? Like, Patrick Mahomes isn't the most athletic guy, but he has this very natural make you miss kind of ability to get outside of the pocket and get out. Right. It's such a very natural thing. I think he would run like a 4.8, 5.40, but he has a really natural way of doing it.
And once he does, he just toys with defenses, man. Sorry to interrupt you. He just toys with defense.
Ahead,
and Trey will too. And that's the thing. Like, as good as Jimmy can continue to get experience and improve from the pocket, and he will eventually, but he'll never have that outside the pocket thing that's where the big plays come from. In today's NFL.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
And you know, I'm honestly shocked that I thought there was a little bit of a little more negative reaction about Trey Lance's day in general than I thought. Like, I mean, if you watched him in college and then you've been seeing, like, to me, he was as advertised, which is exciting, right? He showed every physical trait that you want in a quarterback. Obviously, again, the drop back thing was
inexperience is
something.
going to show up. Yes.
Yeah, it's something he didn't
pocket.
do in college, but I don't think that's a reason that, I mean, not to get into the starting, but like him missing underneath coverage on one play and missing a lurking corner. It's like,
it's bound to happen.
It's not going to be perfect. That's what I'm saying. No quarterback is going to be perfect. Like, if you're going to tell me that him missing an underneath coverage is a reason not to start him, and I don't want to start off the show by being negative about Garoppolo, or this isn't a shot at Garoppolo. This is just an example of a fact. Garoppolo missed underneath coverage multiple times. I mean, go back to his Jalen Ramsey pick in the second Rams game. He misses underneath lurking defenders. And then
he got picked by Fred Warner today.
Yeah, being late over the middle of the field, right? It's a common mistake. Garoppolo was late over the middle of the field. I mean, the Jordan Hicks pick versus the Cardinals, that comes to mind. Where he doesn't.
That was the pick today. That was the pick today. Yes.
Oh, really? He threw it straight to him?
Oh yeah, right to him. Okay. Over the middle.
Yeah, but see, my point
not
is
to
more
be,
so to say. Yeah. My point isn't to say like, hey, Garoppolo does these things too. Ha, Garoppolo's bad. No. The point here is to say that just because Lance had a couple of missteps in his first game, those two missteps shouldn't be reasons why to say just write him off and say, oh, he shouldn't play and he shouldn't do these things.
He's not ready in the
obviously pocket. Garoppolo is the easiest example for us, but I can bring examples of a lot of different quarterbacks that are starting in the NFL and have started the last 2 years that make similar mistakes, and they're not adding the elements that he does in the run game, which we haven't even seen, and the off-schedule stuff, which we didn't even get to see.
Real quick, before we move on, who was the last quarterback that came into the league that was just a pocket quarterback, didn't offer anything outside of it, and was really good? Matt Ryan?
Josh Rosen?
No. It was
really
good.
Really good.
It was good. Like Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
That hasn't been one since Matt Ryan. Like Andrew Luck definitely could get outside the pocket. Baker Mayfield. Every single quarterback who's been good since like 2008 has been able to get outside the pocket, right? I think it's fair to acknowledge that this is where the NFL is now. And it's like, no offense to Jimmy, but you're a dinosaur. And I think the only place in the league that you can succeed playing Jimmy style is New England. I don't even know if they're going to really win a Super Bowl with, playing like that anymore. But anyway, let's move on.